Okay, my name is Elizabeth Bloom. I'm 30 years old. I have some family history. My dad's side of the family started with mental health issues, and my mom's side of the family was the addiction side of the family. So I was started out with a great start, you know. And I found Dr. Sponaugle after years of different psychiatrists. I went through probably every medication in the book. I was told I was bipolar, I was schizophrenic, they wanted to put me on lithium. I went through everything. It started when I was really young. I was 7 years old when I was first given Prozac. From there on, it was meds every day for the rest of my life. Doctor after doctor after doctor, because every doctor would tell me something different, give me something different. And some of the things worked for a period of time, some of them didn't. They all had different side effects, and I was given more drugs for the side effects. So at one point I was taking 12 different medications for depression, anxiety. Once I hit 13, 14, and I started menstruating, that's when things got really, really bad. I was diagnosed with PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. I literally felt like I was going insane. I started cutting, I started burning myself, doing really risky self-harm behaviors. So with the diagnosis of PMDD, that gave me a big clue that it was not just, it was not just psychological. It was not just something that was, bipolar, or depression, or anxiety. That played a part in it, but my hormones were a huge, huge, huge piece of it. I had a really great OBGYN who we went through everything in the world, tried everything in the world. That didn't work. At one point, she finally said to me, I don't think there's anything else I can do for you. And I appreciated her telling me that, because so many doctors don't tell you that. So many doctors just keep trying and keep giving you meds and keep trying and trying and trying. And she told me, I don't think there's anything else that we can do. You're going to have to go to something bigger. So when my uncle died in Helen Ellis Hospital 5 years ago, my mom found Dr. Sponaugle, and she had LaTanya give her a tour, and she got the information, and she brought it back to me, and she said, this is you to a T. We looked at the information, we read all the studies, and it was me to a T, exactly. So it took 5 years for me to get down here. It took a lot of work. It took some other things happening in my family. My dad was in a car accident and was severely injured, and we got a settlement from that, and that's how I got down here with that money. My dad is still struggling right now with severe depression and alcohol, and I don't know what else, toxicity he has. So I came down here. I came down here with a plan at home, set up, ready to go. If this didn't work, I was done. I told my family, I told my friends. So if this doesn't work, I'm done. I don't want to live this life anymore. Every day was a fight. Every day was living hell. And I worked 3.5 hours, and that 3.5 hours would kill me. I had no idea that I had Lyme. I had no idea that I had mold. When I came down, I discovered those things, and it all made sense then. It all made sense that the last 2 years of my life had gotten even worse, where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my bones would hurt, my joints would ache. I was in so much pain, and that my brain just stopped. It stopped working. I was practically a zombie. I was really practically a zombie for a while. And I was depressed. I was angry. I was rageful. I was terrible to my mother. I was terrible to my family and friends. Anybody who crossed my path, I would rip them apart. That's not who I am. That is not who I am. I came from a very loving, intact family. Mom, dad, loved each other. Had a brother who was autistic, and, we were a very happy family. So my mom's side of the family struggled with addiction since she was a kid. She grew up in a family of severe alcoholics. Her mom and her dad drank every single day. She said she knew instantly when her mom hit that spot that she was going to rage, and she would throw things, and she would be very abusive. And my dad then, his side of the family had mental health issues. His mom was also very abusive, emotionally, physically, and in the end we believe, had Alzheimer's and just disintegrated. Her brain just disintegrated to nothing. So with that, my parents met when they were 15, and they both grew up in small town Indiana. When they were 18 and 19, they got married. They moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and they both promised themselves that they would have a better life, and that they would not have the family that they had already had and that they had experienced. And they did that. They had a wonderful family. They loved each other for years and years and years and years and years to come. My mom's brother, on the other hand, didn't have the determination that my mom did to live a better life and to understand that the alcohol was a huge issue. So he moved down here to Florida. He wanted to move here to Disney, where it was a happy land, everybody was happy, and it was a wonderful world. Well, he had started drinking when he was 15, and he never stopped. So by the time I was 15, coming down to visit, he was drinking, insane amounts of alcohol, smoking, chain smoking every day. His wife was doing the same thing. Their son, my cousin, eventually had back pain, went to a doctor. He became severely addicted to opiates. He actually is gone. We have no idea where he is. He left. We told him, we couldn't deal with it anymore. Tried to get him into treatment 100 times. It didn't work. He didn't want to do it. So he left. We have no idea where he is. If he's alive or if he's dead, I don't know. But that side, that's strong history of addiction on my mother's side of the family continued. And eventually, my uncle moved to be closer to Helen Ellis Hospital because he got so sick. It started with the loss of half of one of his lungs. He was put on oxygen. He continued to smoke. He continued to drink. And then his bones just started to disintegrate, and he had double hip replacements. He was in and out of Helen Ellis Hospital for years. It was his home away from home. And every time he went, they had to detox him before they could do any procedures on him. So, being that Gary worked at Helen Ellis Hospital in the detox unit for, I think, like 18 years, I don't know, he knew my uncle. He had detoxed my uncle before. In the end, he died there. He died in 2008 at Helen Ellis Hospital. And that's where my mom found Dr. Sponaugle. And we went back, and 2 years and 2 days later, my aunt died in the same hospital, in the same hallway that my uncle died in. It was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. My cousin was not there for her. He was not there for his mother. He was out doing drugs. He was out finding pills. He was doctor hopping. He was selling. He was doing anything he could do except for support his mother. And at that point, his mother didn't even want him there. Every time he came into the hospital room, the few times that he did, she would get very angry. She couldn't talk because all she would do was cough up blood from the smoking and the drinking. I mean, it was terrible to watch. It was absolutely terrible to watch her fall apart. And when her son would walk in the room, she would just get furious. Her blood pressure would go up, her heart rate would go up. Eventually, we took over and we got power of attorney and custody of her estate, and he was then banned from her room. And she was able to pass away peacefully, you know, with her family there. You know, her sister came down, and that was one of the most emotional things that I went through, to see that and to see my cousin there, not being able to be there to say goodbye, to love her, and it was terrible. But it also gave me, at that point, a really big wake-up call that what I was doing was not what I wanted to do. Part of it was genetic, part of it was environmental, part of it was the years of meds that all my psychiatrists had given me that really messed my brain up. That those drugs were sucking up my serotonin and doing nothing for me. And they were in fact making me worse. So after that, it turned into, you know, how do we get Elizabeth down there? How do we figure out to get her down to Dr. Sponaugle? So it was 5 years in the making, and I knew what I was coming for, and I knew what I was going to get. And once I got here, I felt at home, and I knew that the people here understood me, and I knew that the people here were here to take care of me and had compassion for me and understood what I was going through, and they were able to help me. And to have that compassion and to have that understanding and that validation that I'm not crazy was bigger than anything. Then to have my brain back, now I can do things like this. I can make a video, I can talk to people. Before I couldn't. I would, you know, see people and I would tell my mom, I said, they're watching me, why are they watching me, you know? She said, honey, they're not looking at you. There's nothing wrong with you. And they're not looking at you. No, Mom, they're looking at me. They're looking at me. There's something wrong with those people. You know, she says, now I'm a completely different person. I can socialize. I can talk to people. I don't have that fear inside of me. I was just trapped in fear, and then that fear turned into rage because I became so angry with everything that I had gone through. Treatment centers, the hospitals, the doctors, the medications, the people telling me that what I knew and what I felt was not true. It was devastating to me. You know, it gave me absolutely no hope. So walking in these doors gives you hope. Just walking in these doors, all that, simple, gives me so much hope. So now, I'm excited. I have my life back. My mom is thrilled. My mama could not be happier. She has her daughter back. She has her daughter that she knew was always inside. I was just trapped. And Dr. Sponaugle was able to bring me back. So, it was like a Jekyll and Hyde experience for me. 2 weeks out of every month was absolute hell. I had 1 week out of every month that was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And I could function. And my mom stuck by my side through thick and thin. I am so thankful for my mother. She always told me, I know you'll make it. I know you will do something great with your life. I know you will make it. I know you will make it. We just have to get you to a place where you can function. And I was able to do that here. As I said, I was ready to just be done with life because it was so hard to function. And I came here, the first week was a little rough, getting things settled and figuring out exactly what was wrong with me. But the best part, I think, of being here was I had somebody confirm what I always knew, that it wasn't me. It wasn't me driving to do the drugs, because I self-medicated with drugs for years. I was hospitalized 5 times for mental health, drug addiction. I was in and out of clinics. I was on Suboxone off and on for 5 years. The Suboxone actually really did save my life and give me the ability to kind of get things back together. But then, you know, as I said, I think life got really hard when the Lyme kicked in and the mold kicked in. I moved to a different apartment, and after being there for a year and a half, things got really bad. And now that I've been here, by the second week of being here, I felt like a completely different person. And Dr. Sponaugle being able to show me that on paper and on my tests, from my blood work, from, you know, everything that he could show me, was a validation that, yes, I wasn't crazy, and that I was able to get my brain back to where I needed to be so that I could function and I could have a life and I could love my family and they could love me back. And that's huge. That's huge, to have the ability to say, you know I'm not crazy. And all these people my whole life, since I was 7 years old, who medicated me and said I was bipolar, said I was schizophrenic, said I was, borderline personality disorder. I had every diagnosis in the book. And just knowing that is such a huge, huge piece. So, by the second week, I had my brain back and I felt like me again. And I was so ecstatic to just have my brain back and be able to think and be able to function. I can read a book now and understand it. I can write a paper. I can write forever now. I can get all of that stuff out that's been in there for years that nobody would listen to and nobody would understand. And I'm able to do that because of what Dr. Sponaugle did for me. And not only Dr. Sponaugle, but my nurse Gary, who I love to death, and he really stuck by my side also through thick and thin. And he reminded me every day, you can do this. You've been through way harder things in life. You've been through hell. You can do this. So having my brain back, knowing what Dr. Sponaugle told me, having that validation of knowing I was not crazy, made just a huge difference. I'm back. I have my life back. I'm excited to go home, and I'm excited to share the information with, family and friends, but most importantly, my doctors, for who years told me I was crazy. And I'm not. I'm not crazy. It was all my brain chemistry. My hormones were completely shot. I had no hormones, well, not no, but I had very low dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, epinephrine. They were so low that doc said, I don't even know how you function every day. I don't know how you get out of bed. And like I said, it was a fight. It was a fight for my life every day. So to be able to have my life back, and to be able to know that I'm not crazy, and to be able to go back to people and say, look, this is real. It was all in my brain. And my brain was not functioning because of these things. Because of the lack of dopamine. Because of the lack of serotonin. And that's why I was drug seeking. And for years I knew, and I told my mom, and I could describe it in this very weird way, that it was in the back of my brain. Something was telling me, don't do this. Don't do this. You're hurting yourself, you're hurting your family, you're not going to get anywhere, you really don't want to, you're not this person, you don't want to do these things. but yet it was like the front of my brain just drove me. It was just a go, go, go to treat myself because I couldn't live any other way because I literally felt like I was going insane. So I now have my life back. I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to tackle the things that I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a doctor ever since I was a little kid. I'm now going to go back and go to nursing school and be able to have a life and be able to love and support my family as they've supported me for years and years and years. It was so important for me to come down here that I even lost my job. My job denied me medical leave to come here. And I made the choice to come here and fix my life as opposed to working.